One sec, let me grab some water. All right, all right. What up, everybody? All right, waiting for a few more minutes for more people to come in, and we're gonna start. As y'all know, today's topic is working with the Jinn, or how to work with the Jinn. So wait a few more, and then we'll start getting it on and popping. You might need to upgrade. I choose to be happy. You might need to upgrade if the screen keep freezing. While I'm waiting, did y'all receive the emails I sent out that y'all requested? Just making sure y'all received them for those who asked. Good, good, good. You're welcome. You're welcome. That is correct. I'll share a story. The name Ravana actually is a demonic force in the Dravidian or Indian pantheon. One day, this when I had Facebook way back in the days, this Dravidian black Indian brother hit me up and he said he respects the name I took and that Ravana actually was the one who stood up against the Aryans invading India and bringing their whitewashing. Ravana was actually trying to destroy their asses from actually whitewashing India. He stood up to them to fight them. So I already had the name before that, but that made me stick to that name and use it because I'm all against these oppressive forces and messing their asses up. So that's the work I feel I'm good at. I wonder if that FedEx is for me. Hold on, yo. It might be for me. I'm back. So let's get it on and popping. Cool. All right. So those who missed this, hey, that's their problem, not mine. Anyways, Jinn magic. Well, what is Jinn magic? Before I get into Jinn magic, let me explain how all this came about. About 15, 16 years ago, I had a reading done and it came up, and then I did some other work, but it came up that I have four major spirits that I work with. I normally don't share personal info, but I'm going to segue this into the show or into the discussion today. So I have four major spirits I work with. And then I did certain misas, which is, basically in Santeria and Igun ceremonies. And it came out that these four major spirits are basically the strongest ones I work with. I work with a lot of spirits. Most of these are the strongest. Two of them are Congo spirits. One's a male Congo warrior, and one's a female Congo warrior who was a sorceress. Third was an Egyptian high priest in a certain temple that was freaky. Anyway, that's another story. And then the last one is a black Arab who was a mystic and a sorcerer. So I was already into Islam years ago, did the whole Ansar thing. The Sufi aspect was what attracted me. Long story short, this spirit is what gives me the ability to have psychic powers or occult psychic powers, the ability to see things into the future, hear thoughts, read minds, and see into people's lives. Uh, so this spirit that works with me is in my bloodline because I do have bloodline that goes back to Morocco as well. So this spirit has been a strong focal point and a strong part of what I work with. Remember, on the left-hand path, you should know. This is not just left-hand path, this is for any path. You should know your DNA background. You should know this because there's certain spirits who are trying to work with you through your bloodline, but we tend to put a blind eye to them because of prejudice, racism, whatever. Once you know these things, it can enhance your abilities, your occult powers, and it can enhance your work. Once I knew this, I understood why I was able to communicate with spirits, why I'm able to see into people's lives, why I can do several things. Is because of that Black Arab is one of the stronger spirits. When I work a lot with the African witchcraft, it's the Congo spirits, the male and the female, that really come forth. And when I deal with a lot the Kemetic vampiric side, it's a lot of that the priest in a temple that comes forth. So in Islam, actually prior to Islam, there was always what was known as the Jinn. The Jinn comes from an Arabic word jannah, which means hidden or concealed. Now the Jinn are don't appear to quite often. What I mean by that is they live in a parallel world to this world. They have a life just like we have a life. They interact with people, they marry, they have their own spiritual traditions, things of that nature. But they're not really seen as much. And the reason why is because even if you go to folklore, but then you go to the Quran, which basically was made up of a lot of folklore and then added a lot of religious dogma, but it says that the Jinn were created from smokeless fire. Some of y'all might not even realize you've made contact with Jinn. Some of y'all might even realize you have Arab bloodline within your DNA. A lot of us didn't just come from West Africa. There were some of us that came from Southeast Africa. Like myself, I have a nice percentage that comes from Southeast Africa, which tends to be Tanzania, Mozambique. There's an area there known as Zanzibar, where a lot of the Arab slave trade took place. In that area, there's a mixture of the African traditions and Arab mysticism, as well as Arab religion. Some of us come from those areas. Others also come from Sudan and southern Egypt and Ethiopia. Not everybody came from West Africa, so we have to always keep that in mind. Some of that Arab bloodline got into you through that way. So if you've ever found yourself being attracted to the symbolism of Islam, not the religious bullshit, dogma, superstition, and real extreme form of fundamentalism of Islam, I'm talking about more of the mystic side of it, the symbolism, the science behind it, then it's all good. For example, when you go into Islam, when you really look at the Kaaba, what is it? The Kaaba is a mystic cube. It's not a center of worship. It became that. But when you do the research, you find out that in the Kaaba, they used to have about 360 idols inside the Kaaba. And these idols were symbolic of what they were called deities or gods or archetypes. And much of them were related to Kemet. And a lot of these deities were related to the Kemetic pantheon and were found in the Kaaba. It's Muhammad who went in there and took all that shit out and destroyed the idols to go into spook worship or idol worship. Not idol as an IDOL, something you can see as an iconography or something, but idol as an IDLE, worshiping nothing you really can't see. Okay? So it took that away. But prior to that, there was a science behind the Kaaba. If you relate the words and you look at the words closely, you can see that you find the word Ka and Ba within the word Kaaba in Arabic. And much Arabic was influenced by the Metaneta or Egyptian or Hieratics or Demotic. It was influenced by some of that. So some of those words carried over. That Kaaba, when you look at it, you're encircling, which is what you do in a ritual, mind you. A lot of times if you use and open and close your rituals with a circle, you're circling an altar, which many times tends to be cube shaped or square shaped. When you're doing this, you're actually activating the inner forces, the serpentine force, the serpent energy. And the Kaaba actually sits on one of the ley lines, so there's a lot of magnetic energy there. What happens is when we come years down in all this religion and dogma and superstition and stupidstition, as I like to call it, it started influencing people into extreme fundamental types. Not all of them, but some of these people can be extreme fundamentalists. Then you have those who are considered or shunned in Islam, the Sufi, who they consider to be kind of heretics and things of that nature. The Sufi tend to be more of the spiritual side of Islam. When you look at the prayer, the salat, if you look closely, you can see actual yogic postures or asanas. You can actually see how it was influenced by that. You can actually see how some of those postures are similar to some of the postures you find on the Metaneta, or you can see it up on the wall, okay? In the hieroglyphics, as some would say. Some of that folklore came from Kemet in Eastern Africa into Arabia, because those people are related to the people in East Africa, regardless how brainwashed they are now, and they try to deny that shit. They are related to those people. So some of those things carried over and were brought into Islam. Now, the Jinn, as I'm speaking about the Jinn and humans have always had a special relationship or interaction with each other. Like I said, the Jinn were created from smokeless fire. Since they're created from fire, they tend to have a fiery disposition, as it were. Now, if some of y'all seen the show American Gods on Stars, or Fire Stick, or however you want to watch this stuff, they actually depicted one of the episodes of Jinn. They're created from smokeless fire, and they're very fiery in disposition. In essence, they are like spirit beings between the physical and the dead. They're in between those two. Now, you may ask, well, what's the big deal? Why should I work with them? Why should I do that? Well, on the left-hand path, one thing you should do is try out many different systems to find out what works for you. Not everybody can do the same system and have some results. Something's just not going to work or vibe with you. They're not going to vibe with your DNA. They're not going to work with you in a certain way. You have to figure this stuff out. I can't give you the answer. Other people can't give you the answer. You have to go in depthly and figure these things out for yourself. So what kind of abilities do the Jinn have? The Jinn have a vast array of powers. Now, one of the powers that they have is they can move at the speed of light, sometimes even considered faster than the speed of light. Even in the Quran, in Surah 27, 39, 40, it says a twinkle of an eye. That's how quick they can move. It's also been said that King Solomon, which really is the fictitious character. King Solomon, in actuality, if you do the research, is actually Ramesses or Ray, Mass, or Moose. That is who really King Solomon is. The stories parallel, how many wives, all kinds of wisdom, all this stuff really parallels. So that's really what they're relating to. Ramesses had the ability to control these spirits. They were able to shapeshift. Sometimes they appear as black dogs. They can manifest as the black cat or any cat. Donkeys, camels, snakes, whatever the purpose that they're trying to do, they can manifest as that. Now, I don't get into terms of good or evil. It's all in how you perceive things. People can say, oh, that's good because etc. Really is how you perceive things. Something's beneficial for you, you're going to say it's good. If something's not beneficial for you, you're going to say it's bad or evil. It really is none of those two things. It's just how you perceive things. So the Jinn have 5 different major classes, and you have to understand this when you're working with the Jinn, because it's going to segue into the rituals that I'm going to share with you all and the purpose of these rituals and how it can benefit you for your growth and your results that you're seeking. There's 5 different classes of Jinn. These 5 are the most common. There can be more, but these are the most common. There's the Ifrit, which means to rub with dust in Arabic. So some say it's in fact a persona named after the root word Afritan, which means to create. Then these Ifrit tend to haunt subterranean places and caves. They can manifest either as demonic, not demonic in a sense of your true self or the supernatural self, but they're trying to utilize this term as sometimes not always agreeable to you, or something that's more agreeable to you. They can manifest either way. The Ifrit are very effective in magic. But you have to be careful because just like any other spirits, for y'all who've been working with spirits, notice they can be conniving and manipulative to get what they want. So when you work with Jinn, just like any other spirits, you have to be the one in command. You have to be the master. You have to be the one in control, and you have to know that you are the god in the situation. Otherwise, you can be manipulated. Trust, it can happen. I've seen people get manipulated by spirits, and they don't know why or how it happened. And that's because they worship the spirit or gave the spirit too much credit or power, then taking control and realizing they're the god. Okay? But they are also great. These Jinn are also great in getting things done when you ask them to do something. Okay? The second is the Marid. This means rebellious in Arabic. This class is often depicted as being rather large and have a very imposing presence. In the cartoon Aladdin from Disney or 1001 Arabian Nights, that's the Jinn that you see that they're trying to depict in there. They tend to respond best with rituals that involve bodies of water or water in general. Then you have the ghoul, Ghoul. Yes, some of y'all have heard of the ghoul. In Arabic, this name means to seize. This class of Jinn is generally trouble, and as their name suggests, have monstrous personalities and do not have a decent natured bone in their bodies. They love places like graveyards and are not fond of humanity and are very hard to control. Now, if you got big balls, you think you can handle them, you think you got the power to handle them, when you work in your necromancy, work with the ghoul. I have no problem utilizing ghoul or any of these classes I'm sharing with you because I feel that I'm strong enough and in control enough and in God, of the God over myself, that nothing can affect me. But you have to find that realization within yourself. Then there's the Vatala or Vitala. This class of Jinn are interesting for many reasons. They seem to be a class of being that was borrowed from the ancient Indian traditions and can be found in the Yogini Tantras. They are supposedly vampiric in nature. So I tend to work with this class a lot, the Vitala. Okay? They're vampiric in nature. They are said to possess humans who have recently deceased. This is where some of your the zombie information we hear from Haiti is similar to what they have in certain parts of Arabia, where these Vitala actually take over the body of a recently deceased person, can reanimate it, bring it back to life. But the difference is they look alive and well, so you can't even tell that they were recently deceased. They'll look just like a regular human being that's walking around like everybody else. They are superb shapeshifters, and they use that ability often. If you work with this class, one good thing about this class of Jinn is that they bestow psychic abilities of all sorts. That's why I gave you that story in the beginning, because the Arab spirit that is strong spirit within me, this is the class of Jinn that I found through work and rituals that he worked with, because they bestow psychic abilities of all sorts. So keep that in mind. Then you have the Sila. This class of Jinn is safest to work with since they tend to look more favorably towards humans. They are considered rare, but that has not been my experience though. They seem to readily come when called. If they decide to manifest in front of the magician, they often show up as a female. And yes, I can attest to that. They do often show up as a female. That is very enticing. So be on your P's and Q's. They are considered to be the best of the shape-shifting Jinn. Their intelligence is unrivaled amongst the Jinn classes, and therefore more can be expected of them. Now, according to Jinn theology or Jinn mythology, the Jinn are ruled over by 7 Jinn kings that also correspond to the 7 days of the week. This is important to note since what I'm going to share with you, these 7 kings are going to correlate to the 7 days. Now, you don't have to do it like this. You could do it any which way you want to. You shouldn't have to just wait to say, okay, Sunday is the day that I'm going to just work with this Jinn because that's what it should be. No, you are the God, so you can decide which day or what time you want to work with a certain ritual, regardless of the day of the week. You don't always have to wait. So these 7 kings for Sunday is Al Mudhib, Monday is Mura al Abyad Abu al Harit, Tuesday is Abu Miriz or Abu Yaqub al Amar, Wednesday Barkan Abu al Ajib, and Thursday is Shamhurish. Friday is Abu Hassan Zuba'ath, and Saturday is Abu Nu Maimun. Now, to do these rituals, I'm going to share what some of these things you need. I'm going through this so that we could get to questions and anything else. What you will need to do these rituals, okay? Now, you need candles, black, red, and white candles. The black candle and the white candle symbolize 2 different existences for the Jinn and 2 different energies for the Jinn, the darker energies and the lighter energies. The red control is the red that is you. It represents you and the power to control either side or either variation or vibration of the Jinn. Red, white, and black. Now, Incense. This is the incense I suggest. Some people use frankincense and myrrh. That works lovely. But from my experience working with the Jinn, this incense right here is one of the best ones. Okay? It's a mini Bakhur by Nabil. You could go to Amazon and find this. All you have to do is put Nabil incense or Nabil Bakhur, and you'll see it show up. This is one of the best incense. They have different fragrances. This one in particular is one of the best ones. So again, I'll show this side, the English side, so y'all can see it. Okay? This is one of the best incense to get. You should have a mirror on your altar. If you don't have a mirror on your altar, you could use a mirror anywhere you have it in your house. Okay? And you should have crystals. You can use any crystals you choose. These are some of the most potent crystals to use when you're working with the Jinn, and I'll explain why. You could use jewelry like this. You could use crystals. You could use any object you choose. But what you're basically doing, in essence, is taking a crystal and trapping the energy of the Jinn inside the crystal till the results are met that you're seeking. Then you release the Jinn out of that crystal afterwards. First, you have to trap it in there. So these crystals are some of the most effective to do that. You have sunstone, quartz, bloodstone, agate, amethyst, black onyx. These are some of the most effective to utilize in your rituals. Okay, it just doesn't have to be working with the Jinn. I actually use those crystals that I have, or stones and crystals that I have, to trap vampiric spirits or spirits in general, to do my work and then release them upon the results being achieved. So it's just not for the Jinn. You can use this in any level or pattern of magic you want to choose to use it. So, which one are we beginning with? All right. The first ritual is for healing. All right. And preferably, you should be in a dark room. Second step is light the candles and the incense. And this is for every ritual. The only difference is the crystals are going to seem a little different. I have the notes for this so I can email y'all, but I'm just going over it so you understand it. Third, after you light the candles and incense, you sit quietly for a moment and think about, this one's for healing. So you think about any healing that you want a resolution for, whether it's emotional, physical, mental, whatever healing you need, you focus on that. Then you commit your mind that you will follow the guidance you receive. Fifth step is call upon the Jinn King ruling over Sunday. Healing is on Sunday, but it doesn't have to be. It could be anytime you need it. Don't just go by this. This is variation from a few books, which I'll share the information of the author and title of the books at the end, like I always do. So once you commit your mind that you will follow the guidance you receive, then you call upon the Jinn King ruling over Sunday, and you say as follows. O great Jinn King Amudhib, I ask and demand of you that you send one of your supplicants to my aid, that they assist me in the healing of whatever it is that you need healing for. In the name of the great King, This individual used the word Solomon. Fuck that. I'm not into religious spookism. So I just say, Ramesses, who bound you? Send your emissary my way. Then you pick up the sunstone for healing, pass it through the incense as you look into the mirror. Then you say, by the power of Amurhi, I bind you to this stone to help me heal. While you're passing the stone, look in the mirror and see if you can see an image of the Jinn that is assigned to you. Some of y'all might see an image. If you don't, then ask for the name of the Jinn. Now, here's where it gets tricky. Whatever name comes up, that's the name of the Jinn assigned to you. I don't care how weird the name sounds, that's the name that came through you, through your spirit making contact. That's the name of the spirit. Then after you do that part, you say, you are bound to me by this stone to heal me of whatever it is. After that, you extinguish the candles and you sit there, meditate, hear what you hear, put it in your journal, your whatever. And then you carry that stone with you. Me, I did one today, a ritual earlier today. I put it in this bag. Hold on, y'all. I can't stop my video right now. Yeah. Okay. That was my tenant. Anyways, put it in the bag and I put the pentagram on there. All right. So this is crystals inside here, and I carry this with me wherever I go. All right. I did one for psychic powers and ability to keep enhancing that which I already have. So this is the one for psychic powers. Psychic powers can be done on Monday. I just did it today. I don't go by what other people say. You go by your spirit. Once again, you sit in a dark room. You light your candles and incense. Sit quietly for a moment. Think about the psychic powers you would like to attain. Commit your mind that you will follow guidance. Then you call upon the Jinn King ruling over Monday as follows. O great Jinn Mura, Al-Abyad, Abu Al-Harit, I ask and demand of you that you send one of your supplicants to be my guide and voice, that they assist me in enhancing my telepathic and psychic powers. The name of the great King Ramesses who bound you, send your emissary my way. Do not tarry. Pick up the quartz or amethyst and pass it through the incense as you look into the mirror, and then say, by the power of Mura, Al-Abyad, Abu Al-Harit, I bind you to the stone to help me attain psychic powers. Look into the mirror as you passion this over the incense. See if you see the Jinn. If not, you say, what is your name? And then you say, you are bound by me, by this quartz stone to provide me, quartz or amethyst, to provide me with the abilities I request. Then you extinguish the candles, you sit there for a moment, you take that crystal and you put it and carry it with you wherever you go until you reach your desired results. Now, there's several more here, but if y'all want those, I'll send them to y'all. I'm going to go over all of those. So for the last 20 minutes or so, do y'all have any questions? Any questions? Yes, a lantern definitely works very effectively, especially if you take a lantern and you put a sigil on there. One of the most effective sigils is using Arabic script, and you can actually bind your jinn to that. Very effective, so I would suggest that some of y'all use that if you're able to. Any other questions? All right. The best ones to start with depends on you, Dan. Depends what you're seeking. Me personally, I'm on a quest to become stronger mentally, physically, spiritually. And when I mean mentally, I mean increasing my psychic abilities, pushing my health to greater heights by exercising, eating a good balanced diet, and pushing myself, to the means where I can achieve a greater healthy balanced body. So it depends which one you really want. Because whatever you're seeking is what you'll get. But you have to be really serious about your intention. You have to really, all right, smooth the God, but let me finish this. You have to be really serious about what you're trying to work with and your intention in order to get the desired result. Now, smooth the God. A jinn is actually like a personal demon, personal spirit. Okay. But jinn basically are created of smokeless fire. Some of y'all been doing rituals and saw a vaporish, smokish kind of spirit appear. That most likely was a jinn. People do not realize that. They just claim, oh, that was a title. That's some religious fools say that's the Holy Ghost. Bullshit, nigga. That's fucking jinn. That's what you saw. Okay? And that's what they appear. They were created from smokeless fire. They actually exist as a separate race than humans. They are of a different nature, and they exist simultaneously in a different dimension than this one, but simultaneously where they interact into the human realm and their realm of existence. So a jinn actually is a supernatural race of spirits that exist. So when they do manifest, a lot of times they're very like smoke, and they have red fiery eyes a lot of time. Okay, just sharing that with y'all. So if y'all do see this, don't trip out, run, get scared, run out your house and trip the hell out. Like, what's the hell there? That's what you might see. Some of y'all may see something else. Goddess Kira, that the tradition is pre-Islamic. It's basically a African Arab tradition. Many people may not realize that the Arabs originally were mostly of African descent, who in time, when they moved towards Arabia out of Northeast Africa, were mixed in with European groups who came in. This is why you can see some Arabs, they look Puerto Rican. You can see some other Arabs, they look more of an African descent. That's because of the mixture, vibration, the frequency of two groups created this new group. All right. Any other questions? Okay, the incense name. Let me show it again. I'm sorry. Okay. Wait. All right, there it is. Mini Bachor. And the company's name is Nabil. Nabil. Nabeel. Okay. They have different ones. They have various different ones. This is the best one I use. You can actually find us on Amazon.com, and you can work it from there. Okay? Good question, Jennifer Long. What is the connection between the Jinn and the assassins? The assassins, also known as the Hashashin, okay? And there's a reason why in Arabic they were known as the Hashashin. Yes, you hear there the word hashish. Yeah, it's a drug. It's kind of like marijuana, but like a psychedelic at the same time. The assassins, I'm gonna get to that at the end. I forgot to finish it off by how do you actually release the Jinn. So good looking out, Smooth the God. I'll finish that up after this answer to Jennifer Long's question. So the Hashashin, which was the assassins, which actually you can find in the Lima or OTO. You can find in certain rituals of many of these secret organizations, Shriners, whatever the case may be. These Hashashin, the assassins, would actually smoke the hashish and make contact with the spirits. And they would many times contact the Jinn, the fiery Jinn, the warrior-like Jinn, before they went into carry out the work of assassination or anything else that was necessary. They protected many of the secrets or things like that. So you have to understand, this is some of the things that the assassins grafted into a lot of these sacred traditions, is because the assassins were highly spiritual. They had a lot of the Sufi traditions already incorporated prior to Sufism becoming what it is today. They would smoke the hashish to invoke the Jinn to work on their behalf or work with them or through them. And they would then go and handle the assigned task. Now, since Smooth got asked this, let me finish it off. Okay? So, how do you release the Jinn? Okay, let me. All right, it's almost there. Going through these notes. All right, this is how you release the Jinn. Okay, mind you, the reason why you would release the Jinn is because the Jinn are a group of spirit beings that have their own free will. Okay, they're not like stupid, some dumbass spirit out there floating around. They actually are a race of beings, spirit beings that actually exist in their own realm, have marriages, have traditions that they hold, all kinds of things. So it's best to release it, because if you don't, they can cause harm to you for you engaging them and trying to control them too long. They may be trying to get back to their wife, their children, whatever the case. They can turn on you if you hold it too long. So in order to do this, you must do the following. Implore the king of the Jinn that you used to call back his Jinn servant that helped you. So whatever ritual you did, that king that is over that ritual, you contact that king and you ask the Jinn, the king, to bring back that spirit. There's no right or wrong way. All you have to do is come up with the words that you feel is fine. You tell the king of that Jinn to say, call back your spirit, the task is done, etc., whatever. If you use the crystal jewelry to trap the Jinn, go outdoors and bury it for, I would say, 3 days, 3 nights. Some do it 30 days, 30 nights, whatever the case may be. What you feel your spirit's telling you to do, you bury that, then you dig it back up afterwards, okay? But as you're burying it, you say, I release you, Jinn, from my service. Go and do me no harm. All right? If you feel the Jinn got crazy and out of hand, then you might just want to throw that crystal away altogether. And the best way to throw it is you throw it into the ocean or a lake. Okay? So keep that in mind. That's all you have to do to release the Jinn. It's not some high-tech science mathematical thing you have to do to release the Jinn. All right, Buff Marga, we said this about a little while ago. Yes. You have to keep in mind that the Arabs are very closely related to people in Kemet and Nubia and Ethiopia. If you actually look at the continental map of Africa and how it actually extends out, it's not just this little piece. Africa actually, when you look at it, actually extends out into Arabia. But of course, Europeans like to slice, dice, and cut everything up to make everything seem different. But it's actually all one piece. There's an actual point in Africa, which is around Somalia to Ethiopia, where actually the point of that area to Arabia is so close, you actually see a cross and you can see Arabia. It's like you could literally swim across. I got to see this when I went to Dubai and flew over. We actually flew over Saudi Arabia, over Egypt, coming this way, and I could actually see how close it was when I looked down. Okay? These individuals went into Arabia and they brought their traditions from Nubia, Ethiopia, Kemet, etc. into there. This is why when you have the Kaaba, mind you, they spell it like this, okay, or like this, or sometimes even that. When you really break it down, you have the Ka and the Ba. This is a cube structure that is draped in a black cloth. Inside, prior to Muhammad coming, inside the Kaaba was 360 idols. Some of these idols were names like Al-Uzza, which is actually very closely related to Asis, Aset, Isis, or Isis. Okay? And these individuals who descended from there brought that with them. They brought it into the Arabian culture that was created from the African people coming, and then the Asians and Europeans in that era mixing in with these people to create what is the Arabs today. So the traditions when they did this encircling, it was a mass ritual. When you do a circle in your ritual, just imagine that ritual being a mass ritual with millions of people encircling the Kaaba. And they encircle it 7 times. Yeah. Well, some of the sacred numbers in magic is 3, 7, 9, 21. There's reasons for that. So when they actually encircle this 7 times, they will wear all white. And there was a certain archetype of Kemet who's known as Amun. Amun or Amen. And when you finish this ritual and you finish your prayers in Islam, especially when you do Al-Fatiha, you say Amin. Yes, same deity, same energy, same frequency, same vibrations, just became 2 slightly different cultures, but very closely related. The jinns, Bafa, some are aggressive and some are very caring and loving. Some of them are curious. They nosy. They like to watch what humans are doing. Some of them are attracted to humans because they like how crazy some humans can be. Some of them just get pissed off at humans and say, these are some dumbass fuckers. Same shit the way a lot of us feel sometimes when we look at humans, the same way we feel too. They felt the same way. There's a particular class that is vampiric in nature. Okay? And that particular class, and my mind went blank again. That particular class of Jinn is, I believe, which one was it again? The Vitala. The Vitala are a class of Jinn. They seem to be, they like to possess certain humans that have deceased, bring them back to life. No, it's not the Vitala. Sorry. Shit, which one was it? My trip? No, it is the Vitala, yes. They feed off of humans' energy, some of them, but humans that have deceased, so that they can bring them back to life almost like a zombie, but you won't even realize that they're really there because they look healthy, wonderful, like they're living, but it's actually possessed by the spirit of a Jinn that's known as a Vitala. But then they tend to be vampiric in nature where they feed off of energy. But you also, when you learn how to work with the Vitala, you also can have them feed off of energy for you to feed off of energy from the Vitala. If that makes sense. You can actually send them out to feed off of energy for you so then they can bring that energy back to you and you can feed off of that energy to increase your powers. So keep that in mind. They're excellent shapeshifters. So they're perfect for sending out to feed off of energy. Whatever kind of energy you're seeking, they're perfect to feed off of that energy. Okay? These Vitala are what gives you your psychic powers. The air spirit I work with, this is the air spirit would command the Vitala Jinn, and this is how that air spirit became very psychic, and a lot of that is passed into the work I do. That's one of the main spirits I work with. They work with the Vitala Jinn. Yeah. Most humans right now, they tend to bind the Jinn for stupid shit, creating a hell for the Jinn, and then you wonder why these fuckers can actually cause havoc in your life. You're trying to control a entity that has free will, and just like you wouldn't like to be controlled, same thing. There is a ritual here for working with sex, lust, and things of that nature. Like I said, just everybody email me who wants this, and I'll send you the notes I have on how to do these rituals and everything else. And you can, yes, you can use that, the power of the Jinn and working with the Jinn to increase or utilize through sex rituals. Just know, just about any spirit that's out there, regardless what pantheon, whatever, what mythology, you can utilize any spirit or the archetype energy for sex magic. It's all in how you use it and the way you want to use it and what you're trying to accomplish. But you can utilize each and any one of these archetypes from any tradition or system for your purpose, for your workings. You're welcome, Baffa. Baffa Marka, everybody. Give her a hand. For all y'all who don't know, Baffa Marka specializes in making great jewelry for your work on the left-hand path. So contact Baffa Marga. Baffa, type in your information so people can see. And she does great work. Y'all need to contact her to get certain jewelry, certain beads, certain whatever you need for your workings in the left-hand path. That's the one right there to hit up. Any other questions? Okay. When you deal with Sa Sechem Sahu from last week, Sa Sechem mouth just got tongue tied. Anyways, Sa Sechem Sahu, it does deal with the root chakra in particular because Sechem is very similar is the power or energy of the force that's related or similar to the Kundalini. So when you use that, you're activating your sekhem or your power, and that power begins at the root chakra and elevates upwards to the crown. So that is a very good question, and it is related, and I hope that makes sense for you. This is why when you deal with Sekhmet, for example, Sekhmet's color, a lot of Sekhmet's color is red. She's known as the fiery one sometimes, or the lady of flame. So when you deal with Sekhmet, you're dealing with the root chakra. This is why her color is red, and yellow sometimes is mixed into her red, because it's activating the root chakra, working up towards what? Yellow? Solar plexus, the lady of flame, the fiery one, from the root to the solar plexus. Once you bring up to the solar plexus, now you're ready to do work in the higher chakras. But when you get to the solar plexus, what that does is open up the middle chakra, which is the heart chakra, which is the chakra of the wounded child, the chakra of the traumas, the chakra of the pain, all the issues emotionally, psychologically that we have is at the heart chakra. That is the work. Once you get to the solar plexus, the work is to then focus on the heart chakra and heal all those emotions, traumas, wounds, issues, and pain before you go to the higher chakras. Because once you get to the higher chakras, the work is more of a psychic level. It's more of a occult, meaning more hidden knowledge and powers that are going to take place there, that if you have blockages and obstacles, it's going to be difficult to get that high. It's going to bring you right back down. So this is important that you deal with when you're dealing things like utilizing the hekau or the chant of Sa Sechem Sahu, that you focus on the root chakra while you're chanting that to bring forth anything that needs to be worked with there, working up towards your solar plexus. Because that is the three major chakras that really have to be concentrated on before we get all delusional and high and mighty and we want to be crown chakra masters. You got to deal with the lower chakras first. Now, some people can skip and say, oh, well, I'm so spiritual and I'm just going to go to the crown and take off. That's fine too if you feel you could do that. But from somewhere between here and taking off, your delusions can trap you somewhere out in the astral plane, and you can attract lower frequencies and vibrations or energies that are willing to suck you dry or possess you and leave you trapped in that astral plane. A good movie to watch, and I'm sure some of y'all have watched this, is Insidious, part 1, 2, 3, and whatever else is out there. I think it's 3 parts or 4 parts, whatever. I think it's 4 parts. Watch all of them, because in that movie they show you hints of what the astral plane can actually be like. And it's a good depiction. It's not perfect depiction, but it's a good depiction for those who worked in the astral plane. They do realize that when they depict stuff like that in a movie, you can see shit like that in the astral plane, especially if you haven't dealt with a lot of shit. These lower frequencies or vibrational entities can come and fuck with you because of your issues, your trauma, your fears, and try to trap you in that realm because of that. So it is important that you focus on that, okay? Any work that you do with any spirits, before you really get deep into that, deal with your own shit. Because if you don't, tell you these spirits will fuck you up and control you and hurt you. It sounds lovely and dandy to work with spirits, but it's not for the weak at heart, and it's not for those who haven't done the work. Any other questions? Or while y'all thinking of certain questions, let me say this. Next week, I'm going to go over vampiric elementals and how vampiric elementals could benefit you or hurt you, and how many of these elementals are actually self-created and exist within your subconscious mind, and you are doing the work of hurting yourself and don't even realize it. So the next week we're gonna go over vampiric elementals, how they can benefit you or hurt you, and how you created many of these vampiric elementals, and they dwell in your subconscious mind, and you don't even realize it. Any other questions? Oh yeah, thank you. Somebody's always going to help me out with that. All right, the first book is Jinn, Magic by Bao. My boy again, Bao Cadman. He got some good ish. All right, and then the next one, give me 1 second. And the next one is Jinn Summoning by Delita Carter. Now, Delita Carter has a lot of in-depth information on working with the Jinn and some really powerful rituals, but it's so in-depth that for the sake of time, I didn't really use or go too deep into the information there. What I do with this is when I study this information, I find the best sources, take what I feel works for me, and create something new from it, which is what a lot of y'all should be doing. Not following a book verbatim. Val Cadman, his rituals are quick, simple, and easy, so it's easy to use his and alter it to suit you the way you want. Then some of the Delita Carter, which is more complex and more involved rituals, so that's why I share this with y'all. Any other questions, comments, or concerns? All right. Well, that seems like that's about it. So if y'all have any questions, comments, concerns, email me. Once again, I'm going to put it on here. Oops, I put the wrong thing up there earlier, I think. Yeah, I did. All right. Don't email me at Ravana Noon. That's a personal email. Email me at darkoccultist99@outlook.com. I made a damn mistake and put the wrong one earlier. All right. So thanks for tuning in. It's been fun. Check me out next time. Peace.